Chapter 16. A New Target. A steam curled along the tile ceiling, the sound of running water filling the room. Cyranox finally broke the silence left behind by the earlier, cold rejection. "We'd need 400,000 animals just to reach level 10, he said, his voice steady but strained beneath the surface. There isn't a single farm with numbers like that. This one was among the largest in all of Germany. Needing at least 2 more of the same size is put bluntly insane." He turned his head toward her, water streaming down his face as his expression hardened. His mind was already racing ahead, mapping consequences, dead ends, and narrowing options. "The diminishing returns are the real problem," he added. "A big one." Iris nodded slowly, her wolf ears twitching as she absorbed the weight of his words. "It makes sense," she said. "The system rewards overcoming adversity. Slaughtering creatures vastly weaker than you offers minimal benefit. If we want meaningful progress, we need stronger prey." She reached out and shut off the water. The sudden silence felt intrusive, almost violent in its abruptness. "We need to level faster," Iris continued, her tone calm but edged with urgency. "That means hunting more dangerous beasts, but those won't exist in sufficient numbers until the mana infusion. We're racing against time, and the finish line keeps moving farther away the closer we get." Cyranox grabbed a towel and dried himself off, the rough fabric scraping against his skin as if to anchor him in the moment. He glanced toward Iris. Her fur was still damp, clinging to her form, her silhouette stark beneath the harsh fluorescent lights of the changing room. "There is another option," she said after a pause. "We could hunt humans." The words hung in the air, heavy and ugly. "The system classified the workers we killed as adult human LV-0, he continued, more clinically. "They gave some experience." He stopped himself, jaw tightening. "Never mind. We still have a few days. Let's focus on farms, ones with around 100,000 animals. Another issue is the young animals don't count." He exhaled slowly. "If we hit all the major poultry farms in the vicinity, we should barely scrape together what we need. The problem is visibility. After the second one, maybe even sooner, they'll start watching the rest. Authorities won't see this as coincidence." His gaze hardened. "They will call it a terrorist attack at best. That means the first one and maybe the second after this will be similar to this one. The other will be with way more casualties on the human side." He walked toward the lockers, pulled out someone's clean cloths, and tossed the clothes towards her. "We will do it like this. We hit the next 2 overnight. There will be no rest today, Iris. The last one we just dunk in the morning, in hopes that they don't watch them by then. It won't be pretty nor will it be easy, but that's what adversity is, in this plan. It's not a high-level beast, but a tight time window and skill." Iris' eyes flickered as she looked at the cloths, a slight look of distaste before she looked at her old, discarded clothes, his clothes. "I send my drones in and drop all humans inside in under a minute. At the same time, we jump the fence and start butchering. If you have anything to make it faster, I would appreciate it." With the shirt on and bottom still in hand, she holds up the voucher that materialized in her hand. "I got this. With the right weapon, I could cleave even more in a single strike. It's likely best if I focus on one building with the highest concentration of chickens, you on the other, while the drones take out the third one." She nodded, and the black iron voucher in her hand dissolved into motes of golden light. A massive swayhander materialized in a flash of ethereal energy. Its hilt was long enough for a two-handed grip, wrapped in dark, supple leather. The blade was a masterwork in itself, almost as tall as her, made of a black, gleaming metal that seemed to ripple with an inner turquoise light. It had no ornate carvings or jewels, just a single blade designed for one purpose only, to cut through flesh and bone with devastating efficiency. "It is an eldritch swayhander," she said, her voice a low, steady purr, her amber eyes fixed on the weapon. "It is perfectly balanced for me." Without another word, she slung the massive weapon that was almost taller than her over her shoulder, the movement effortless and natural. They walked out of the changing room, the silence of the farm a stark contrast to the carnage they had left behind. The car was a welcome sight, a small bubble of normalcy in this chaotic world. He got in, the engine a familiar roar, and Iris followed, her new weapon taking up most of the back seat. He pulled out of the farm, the taillights disappearing into the darkness, a ghost in the night, leaving behind a scene of unspeakable horror. The drive was tense, the air thick with unspoken words. He could feel the anticipation building within him, a dark, hungry excitement for the coming slaughter. He was a predator, and this was his hunting ground. The farm was just a few kilometers away, a large, sprawling complex of buildings and pens, a perfect target for their blitzkrieg. He parked the car a short distance away, the engine falling silent, the only sound the faint, almost inaudible hum of the city. "This is it, Iris," he said, His voice a low, steady rumble. Remember the plan. We hit hard, we hit fast, and we don't stop until every last one of them is dead. He summoned his drones, their silent arrival a familiar comfort. +2 active drone. -10 tech points. He sent them towards the largest building, their blue lenses glowing with an unholy light. He then looked at Iris, her amber eyes fixed on the target, her new weapon resting on her shoulder. Chapter 17. The slaughter continues. The 2 drones vanished into the dim glow of twilight just as Iris sliced through the fence, cutting steel as if it were cloth. She stepped through without slowing, breaking immediately into a sprint. The soft roar of the drone's magical cannons was barely audible quiet sounds in an even quieter evening. Cyranox followed moments later, slipping into one of the hangars that served as barns, same as last time. He grabbed the first solid plank he could find, anything heavy enough to be used as a club, and got to work. It felt like the first farm. Almost exactly. The only difference was the kill feed. This time, the numbers jumped sometimes violently, so massive increments flashing across his vision before vanishing again. He ignored them and focused on the rhythm. Swing. Impact. Collapse. Repeat. Once the drones finished clearing the main building, they shifted to support him, sweeping the barns until their timers expired and they vanished one after the other. It took less than 8 hours. When it was done, their clothes were not just stained with blood, they were drenched in it. Adult human LV, 0, 6 times. Adult chicken LV, 0, 122,648 times. Plus 6,132.7 experience. Iris rested her massive Zweihander on her shoulder. The blade was pristine, not a single speck of blood clung to its dark surface. She, on the other hand, was anything but clean. Her fur was matted and heavy, the dark strands soaked through to a deep, glistening crimson. The drive was silent. The engine hummed steadily, broken only by the faint rustle of blood-stiffened fabric shifting with every movement. That shot was rather useless. Cyranox, I whispered, her tone mildly amused. The point wasn't to clean my body, he replied flatly. It was to clean my thoughts. His pants and shoes were darkened red-brown from the ankles to the knees, everything above that was sprayed in uneven arcs. He drove straight on, headlights carving tunnels through the darkness as exhaustion crept in bone deep and heavy, the opposite of the sharp adrenaline that had carried him through the slaughter. He glanced at Iris. Her amber eyes were fixed on the road ahead, expression calm, focused. She was a warrior and she was in her element. The next farm followed the same pattern. His drones erased the staff before either of them entered the barns. The slaughter began. The slaughter ended. The last farm, however, did not go as planned. The sun was already rising when they reached it. One drone was forced to stay on overwatch, leaving only a single unit active. With one drone summoned, his tech points regeneration barely matched its upkeep, no margin for error. A car pulled onto the property. The drone fired. Its magic cannon punched straight through the roof. The vehicle went still. Another human erased. Then another vehicle arrived. Then a police car. Cyranox had not specified restrictions. The drone fired again, 2 clean shots through the windshield. It resumed its watch without hesitation. Then he heard it. A low, distant hum. Every child knew that sound. Everyone knew where to look. God fucking damn it, he muttered, sprinting out of the barn and tilting his gaze skyward. A helicopter. Can't it ever be simple? With a mental command, he set the condition, shoot if it hovers or descends. Then he shouted across the property. Iris, get your ass over here now. We are out of time. No response. Then a howl, sharp and fierce, ripped through the morning air. Acknowledged. He went back to work, crushing chickens left and right. He did not summon another drone. He needed Overwatch. 1,000 kills were not worth risking a failed summon at the wrong moment. The helicopter circled once, a black predator surveying the carnage below. Its spotlight sliced through the morning mist, illuminating the blood-soaked barn. He issued the command. A single, brilliant crimson beam lanced upward. There was no explosion. No fireball. The helicopter simply died. The beam tore through the engine block, killing power instantly. The rotors slowed, their scream fading into a hollow whine before the aircraft dropped like a stone. They hit one of the buildings with a sickening metallic crunch. Silence followed. A deep, ringing silence worse than noise. Louder than screams. He checked his status. Team, 825.7 out of 20 thin experience. Another swing. Another chicken fell. We are so close. Iris emerged from the barn, Zweihander on her shoulder, blade still clean. The helicopter is down, she said calmly. The system registered the kill as helicopter pilot LV 0. he answered. Her eyes flicked toward the smoking wreckage. We have at most 10 minutes before a response is mobilized. Law enforcement, possibly military. Stop standing around. Cyranox snapped. Kill everything you see. 5 minutes, then run to the car. He sprinted toward the wreckage, placed a hand against the twisted metal, and activated salvage. The helicopter glowed faint blue. Nothing else happened until a small box materialized in front of him. He grabbed it without looking and ran. Cyranox obtained salvage cash. Helicopter X1. Iris was already at the car when he arrived. The engine roared to life. Tires screamed as he floored it, tearing away from the property just as the sun cleared the horizon. He glanced at the final tally. Adult human LV, 0 9 times. Helicopter pilot LV, 0 1 time. Adult chicken LV, 092,818 times. Plus 4,641.4 experience. A drone materialized above the car. Kill everything on that farm. It turned and flew back toward the slaughter, joining the other drones still at work. 2 kilometers down the road, he finally slowed. We stay within 9 kilometers, he said. The drones will finish most of it. Once they are gone, we reposition, summon another batch, hit one more farm. It should work. He pulled onto a narrow forest path, wiping his hand against the seat as he manipulated the phone clamped beside the steering wheel. There is a small river ahead, he added. We walk there, clean up, and wait. Chapter 18, Level 10. On the way to the small creek hidden within the forest, Cyranox finally spoke. The drones will be our cover, he said quietly, if they get spotted and shot at. Adult human LV, 0 3 times. Plus 0.3 experience. Just like that, he continued unfazed. They will focus on the drones and keep their distance. If they observe long enough, they will see them vanish in blue sparks and be lost as fuck. Lost as fuck, Iris repeated softly, tasting the phrase as if cataloging it for future tactical use. They followed the creek upstream until the trees thinned just enough for a blade of sunlight to pierce the canopy. The world felt calmer here, deceptively so. Cyranox reached into his pocket and retrieved the salvage cash, palm-sized, seamless, matte black metal. No buttons, no markings. He pressed it anyway. Nothing. I suspect you must channel tech points into it, Iris said calmly. He placed his hand against the container and focused. Blue light traced faint lines along its edges, the surface shimmering, and then stopped. Nothing happened. Based on my administrative knowledge, Iris continued, salvage caches often contain schematics, rare materials, or pre-assembled modules. Some allow selection. We will see which this one is. Her amber eyes were steady, a stark contrast to the blood-soaked chaos they had left behind. System query. Open salvage cache. Helicopter? Yes. The box dissolved into blue particles. A holographic interface unfolded before him, glowing softly in the dappled forest light. Schematic. Drone part. 15x alloy plating. 1x mono-infused engine core. The drone part. The other options vanished instantly. A new object materialized, a small metallic sphere, sleeker and more advanced than his current drones. A single green lens pulsed at its center, 4 retractable protrusions resting dormant along its hull. It hovered silently above where the box had been. Obtained. Schematic. Hull map black. You are now able to modify summoned drones. The knowledge burned itself into his mind. The sphere and the remaining fragments of the cache vanished in familiar blue sparks just like a desummoned drone. They washed up at the creek. It wasn't perfect, but it was enough. Cold water bit into Cyranox's skin as he scrubbed away the worst of the blood, his heightened senses making every sensation sharper. The water darkened, turning pink, then red. He glanced at Iris, who cleaned her fur with meticulous care, her movements precise and almost ritualistic. The creek was a murky crimson by the time they finished. Iris, he said as he pulled on the last set of clean clothes from the bag. 30 minutes. The drone should be finishing up. We move. Now. She nodded once. He severed the link. -2 active drones. Still damp, they returned to the car and drove off, turning onto a dirt road before cutting straight across an open field. He checked the navigation. The next farm didn't need to be large. Just a few thousand animals would do. Cutting across the acre had the travel time. If the car breaks down, fine. If Iris is right, it will be useless soon anyway. Without electronics, this thing won't drive a meter. Iris, he said, tapping the phone mounted beside the steering wheel. That green area, this forest, that's where we stay until the system descends. I don't want to be anywhere near a city when that shit happens. I understand, she replied, her gaze shifting from the screen to the passing landscape. Cities will become death traps. Dense populations of unprepared humans will attract predators. He parked just inside the tree line. The engine died, replaced by rustling leaves and distant birdsong. The air smelled of damp earth and pine clean, almost refreshing compared to the metallic stench that had clung to them for over a day. Let's finish this, he said. He summoned a drone. +1 active drone. -10 tech points. The machine drifted away toward the nearby farm, its blue lens glowing faintly. Serenox leaned back and closed his eyes. The notifications began to flow steady, rhythmic, distant. Death and reward, reduced to numbers. A grim lullaby. Sleep, Iris, he murmured. It was a long day. Sunlight filtered through the leaves when he woke, urgency snapping him fully alert. He checked the feed. Adult chicken LV, 0x9000. 450 times. +472.5 experience. Then his status. Status! Name, Serenox. Class, Dromancer. Level, 9. Experience, 19th in 986.2 out of 20th. So close. He summoned the second drone. +1 active drone. -10 tech points. He sent it to reinforce the first. The notifications accelerated. Then, adult chicken LV, 0-276 times. +13.8 experience. Bane, level up. You are now level 10. New drone types unlocked. Assault, offensive, defensive, healing, travel, cargo, reconnaissance. Congratulations, you are the first to reach level 10. Reward, +5% all stats. +5% all stats apply. Alert! For reaching level 10 as a progenitor before the system's descent, you have been granted a system boon. System boon, overcome adversity. The effective summon air drone is multiplied by 10. Tech points cost reduced to 0. Effect remains active until system descent. Serenox exhaled slowly. Skill summon air drone leveled up. Type, summoning/tactical support. Cooldown, 15 seconds. Drone slots, 3-1 plus skill level. Skill level, 2. Skill overcharge leveled up. Type, buff/enhancement. Resource cost, 10 tech points per use. Cooldown, 30 seconds. Duration, 10 seconds 5 times skill level. Effect, 50% 25% times skill level. Target, 1 level divided by 10. Skill level, 2. Skill salvage leveled up. Type, resource/utility. Resource cost, 20 tech points per use 10 times skill level. Cooldown, 1 minute. Skill level, 2. What the fuck? Chapter 19, New Drones. Serenox jolted upright in his seat, the system windows snapping into place with him in perfect sync. He threw the car door open and jumped out, his pulse hammering as instinct took over. With a single thought, he summoned one of each drone. +6 active drone. 6 constructs shimmered into existence around him, their forms distinct and unmistakable. The assault drone hovered low, dual red lenses glowing beneath twin cannons. Assault air drone. Dear, basic. Summoning and upkeep. 8 to summon, 5 per minute. Size, 30 centimeter diameter. Range, 800 meter times level. Speed, 20 kilometer per hour. Weapon, wind magic cannons. Extra, burst fire mode. Stats, 15% of summoner. Purpose, high damage frontline combat. The sleek offensive drone floated higher, its violet lens fixed forward like a sniper lining up a shot. Offensive air drone. Dear, basic. Summoning and upkeep. 7 to summon, 4 per minute. Size, 30 centimeter diameter. Range, 1,000 meter times level. Speed, 20 kilometer per hour. Weapon, focus magic beam. Extra, armor piercing focus. Stats, 12% of summoner. Purpose, precision damage and priority target elimination. The defensive drone manifested as a heavy vertical oval, a faint green barrier rippling across its surface. Defensive air drone. Dear. Basic. Summoning and upkeep. 6 to summon, 4 per minute. Size. 50 centimeter diameter. Range. 500 meter times level. Speed. 10 kilometer per hour. Weapon. None. Extra. Barrier projector. Stats. 12% of summoner. Purpose. Protection and damage mitigation. The reconnaissance drone was small, black, and slightly translucent, its presence easy to miss if one did not know where to look. Reconnaissance drone. Dear. Basic. Summoning and upkeep. 5 to summon, 2 per minute. Size. 15 centimeter diameter. Range. 3,000 meter times level. Speed. 40 kilometer per hour. Weapon. None. Extra. Stealth mode. Enhanced sensors. Stats. 8% of summoner. Purpose. Scouting, surveillance, and information gathering. The healing drone gleamed pristine white, its teal lens pulsing with quite restorative energy. Healing support drone. Dear. Basic. Summoning and upkeep. 6 to summon, 3 per minute. Size. 40 centimeter diameter. Range. 3,000 meter times level. Speed. 10 kilometer per hour. Weapon. None. Extra. Regenerative pulse beam. Stats. 10% of summoner. Purpose. Healing and sustained support. The travel drone hovered a flat oval disc-shaped, humming softly. Travel drone. Dear. Basic. Summoning and upkeep. 7 to summon, 5 per minute. Size. 60 centimeter diameter. Range. 2 centimeter times level. Speed. 60 kilometer per hour times level divided by 10. Weapon. None. Extra. Anti-gravity lift field. Stats. 10% of summoner. Purpose. Traversing long distances. While the bulky cargo drone loomed behind it like a moving vault. Cargo drone. Dear. Basic. Summoning and upkeep. 6 to summon, 4 per minute. Size. 50 centimeter diameter. Range. 1,500 meter times level. Speed. 30 kilometer per hour. Weapon. None. Extra. Dimensional storage 100 kilogram times level. Stats. 10% of summoner. Purpose. Moving and logistics. They hovered in silence. A compact fleet of death, support, and logistics. Iris was instantly awake, her eyes wide as she took in the sight. Iris, I got a system boon, and it changes everything, he said quickly. It multiplied the effects of my summon skill by 10. He looked like a child on Christmas Eve, circling the drones with barely contained excitement, examining every curve and glowing lens. He ran a hand along the smooth surface of the travel drone, grinning. Just as Iris perked up, she froze. Her gaze went unfocused, her eyes blank for a brief moment. He recognized the look instantly. Did you just reach level 10? Yes, I did, Cyronox. Her tail swayed behind her, a faint smile touching her lips before her expression shifted, growing serious as she studied the 6 drones floating in loose formation. This system has granted you a tremendous advantage, she said. This fundamentally changes our operational parameters. We no longer need to limit ourselves to a single location. With these drones, we can wage a multi-front war of attrition against the region livestock. Our objectives can be achieved in a fraction of the expected time. She stepped closer, amber eyes sharp and calculating as she examined each construct. The reconnaissance drone alone allows full mapping of farms and potential targets within a 50-kilometer radius. We can plan with surgical precision, minimizing exposure while maximizing efficiency. Cyronox sighed and shook his head. I hate to burst your bubble once again, Iris, but even this does not take us any higher. He pulled out his notebook and flipped through several pages. Even if the system does not reduce experience gains further at level 14, we are still talking about roughly 2.2 million kills for one of us. He snapped the notebook shut. There are not 4 million chickens here, nor enough animals worth hunting. He stepped closer to her, his voice dropping. I am sure you unlocked something impressive as well, but for now, this is it. In 4 days, the system descends. After that, we use what we have. He paused, then gently booped her snoot before turning back toward the car. Before he could reach the car, he stopped and looked at his drones. that could work. It just has to be one that is large enough. All the drones disappear in a cloud of blue sparks, leaving just one of them behind. The oval, disc-shaped construct appeared in the blink of an eye, humming softly as it stabilized in the air. His hand slid across its slick, streamlined body, fingers tracing the shallow indentations along its top side. As with his own status, the information surfaced instantly in his mind. Travel drone. Dear. Basic. Summoning and upkeep. 7 to summon, 5 per minute, 0 to summon, 0 per minute. Range. 20 km, 200 km. Speed. 60 km per hour, 600 km per hour. Weapon. None. Extra. Anti-gravity lift field. Purpose. Traversing long distances. Thanks to the spell and the knowledge imprinted alongside it, he knew exactly how it was meant to be used. Leaning forward, he pressed his body onto the disc, fitting neatly into the shallow concave indentation. His hands found 2 recessed grips near the front, designed specifically as handholds. It was surprisingly comfortable. The sensation reminded him of lying on a foam kickboard or a small surfboard. His grip tightened as his feet left the ground and the drone lifted smoothly, carrying him above the treetops. There was no jolt, no vibration. The sensation was not unpleasant at all. It was strangely calming. It felt as though he were lying on solid ground, untouched by motion. Forward. The drone responded instantly, moving even before the thought had fully formed. It turned and accelerated effortlessly, matching his intent perfectly. These drones are incredible. There is no need for instruction. They know exactly what I want. The world beneath him blurred as he picked up speed. Yet nothing changed for him. There was no wind, no chill, no pressure against his face. If not for the landscape streaking by below, he might have believed he was completely still. Cyranox spent several minutes testing its limits. He dove, banked, climbed, and twisted through the air. Through it all, his body never shifted unless he willed it to. Perfect stability. Perfect control. Iris watched the retreating form of Cyranox as he vanished into the open sky, her gaze lingering on the empty blue above the clearing. Cyranox returned soon after, the travel drone descending through the canopy before lowering him gently to the ground. Blue sparks erupted as the drone was dismissed. Iris turned as he approached. Iris, change of plans. We won't miss this opportunity that the system has just dropped at our feet. 2 travel drones materialized in front of him. You watched me earlier, so you should know how to get on it. In one smooth motion, he grabbed hold and the drone shot skyward, carrying him into the white and blue expanse above the trees. Iris copied his movements and got on the drone as well. Within seconds, they were gone. He knew that what he was planning was anything but humane. He needed millions of kills, and there is just one way to do this. Just one place where millions are stacked in such a dense area that it would work out. What he needs is a metropolis, one that is not defended by a huge military force. His drones were flying south, carrying them to their destination with near 600 km/s. 9 hours later, the horizon showed a sprawling cityscape, spanning the entire site. Chapter 20. Point of No Return. Cyranox flew above a sea of buildings, slowing to a speed where individual details became clear. Streets, rooftops, moving cars, scattered figures. He selected a tall structure near the city center and descended, landing softly on its flat rooftop. His feet touched concrete. The travel drone dissolved into blue sparks as it was dismissed, vanishing without a trace as usual. He removed the backpack and let it drop beside him, just as Iris landed right next to him. With a nod he spoke while looking at Iris. Make yourselves comfortable. This will take some time. You don't have to get involved yourself. It would make no real difference anyways. And we will not leave this place unless absolutely necessary. Without another word, he sat down and began summoning his drones. Iris lowered herself slowly on the concrete rooftop. It was not very comfortable. She adjusted her position a few times before she distracted by the summoning of drones. First came a defensive drone. Then a reconnaissance drone. Then 3 offensive drones. Finally, 25 assault drones. In less than 5 minutes, all 30 hovered around him, plus 30 active drone. As the defensive drone appeared, a semi-translucent concave barrier manifested in front of him. Hexagonal segments interlocked into a hovering wall that edges glowing faintly blue as it positioned itself above and slightly ahead of him, a silent shield. The reconnaissance drone immediately switched to stealth mode upon being summoned into existence, fading until it was barely visible. It began circling the building at the outer edge of its sensor range, sweeping the surroundings like a living radar. The 3 offensive drones spread out next, taking positions along the perimeter of the rooftop. ready to engage anything the reconnaissance drone flagged as a threat. Then came the main force. 25 assault drones arranged themselves into 5 clean rows, hovering in perfect formation. They waited still and silent for the command that would change the cityscape forever and show the world what is about to come in the future. Cyranox stared at them, these floating spheres of death and destruction. In them, he saw the solution to his problem, the key to the levels he needed, the only chance he had to stand against what was coming. These drones were the line between survival and annihilation. Iris regarded it all with awe. The number of drones and their positioning. Every tiny tactical detail became clear simply through their presence. Is this right? Can I do this? The question echoed in the empty chambers of his mind. He saw their faces, the faces of the ones that will die by his hand. Innocent. Guilty. It didn't matter. In the end, they were just numbers. Numbers that will bring him closer to his goal. Numbers that will allow him to stand tall against the coming storm. He knew that this was the point of no return. Once he gives the command, there is no going back. He will be a monster. A true monster. Not just a predator that kills to survive, but one that kills for power. But I am already a monster that killed humans and animals alike before. So what is the difference? The answer was simple. There is none. 5 of you will circle the city if something tries to leave, annihilate it. With this thought, 5 of the assault drones flew off into different directions of the city. He stood up, the backpack still on the ground next to him. He looked down at the city below. He saw the people walking the streets, driving their cars, living their lives, unaware of the doom that is about to befall them. He raised his hand, his fingers pointing down at the city. Kill them all, he said, his voice a cold, steady whisper. Kill every living thing you see. Shoot to kill, not to harm. The rest of the assault drones descended like a swarm of locusts, red lenses igniting with scarlet light. The formation broke apart into 4 groups, then split further until each drone flew independently. Vanishing into the streets below, the city was about to become a slaughterhouse. Millions would die. What are millions if billions will die in a few days, by the hand of the system? Cyranox watched them go, a grim smile settling on his face. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a pack of cigarettes, sliding one between his lips. He had not smoked in days. He was too caught up in all of this, had forgotten it out of a lack of time. The smoke filled his lungs, a familiar, comforting sensation in a world gone mad. He looked up at the defensive drone hovering above him, unmoving, absolute in its vigilance. He exhaled slowly, smoke curling around him like a shroud. He took another drag from his cigarette. He was ready for what was to come. He was ready for the consequences. He was ready for the blood. The assault drone, A-17, moved through the narrow alleyway, its red lenses scanning the chaos. The drone's logic circuits processed the sounds, the sights, the raw data of slaughter, but it felt nothing. It was a machine, a tool of destruction, and it was fulfilling its purpose with cold, emotionless efficiency. Its twin magic cannons opened fire, crimson beams lancing through the air, cutting down a fleeing family. A mother, a father, and 2 small children, their lives extinguished in a flash of light. The drone moved on, its target eliminated, its mission continuing. Cyranox sat on the edge of the building, legs dangling over the drop. Sirens began to wail in the distance, a useless chorus rising against the carnage. Crimson glows bloomed across the streets below. He took another drag from his cigarette, the smoke a pale ghost against the crimson glow beginning to bloom in the streets below. The experience notifications were starting to flow, a steady, rhythmic stream of numbers in the corner of his vision, a waterfall of death and reward. The first group of assault drones descended upon a bustling market square, their red lenses scanning the terrified crowd. The twin magic cannons opened fire, crimson beams lancing through the air, cutting down people where they stood. The screams were a symphony of terror, a chorus of agony that echoed through the city. The drones were relentless, their fire precise and deadly, their movements efficient and brutal. They flew through the streets, their cannons spitting death, their red lenses glowing with crimson light. They were the harbingers of a new age, the bringers of a new dawn. Another drone, A-03, hovered over a crowded street, its red lenses scanning the terrified crowd. It locked onto a group of people huddled together in a doorway, their faces contorted in fear. The drone's magic cannons opened fire, crimson beams lancing through the air. The drone was relentless, its fire precise and deadly, its movements efficient. The air hummed and crackled with the discharge. Overheated metal warped and droplets of molten asphalt hissed on the pavement. The drone pivoted, searching for its next target. A lone police car sped towards the chaos, its sirens wailing a desperate cry into the carnage. The officer inside, A man with a kind face and a family waiting for him at home stared in disbelief at the scene unfolding before him. He saw the floating spheres of death, the crimson beams of light, the bodies piling up on the streets. He grabbed his radio, his fingers fumbling with the buttons, his mind a maelstrom of fear and confusion. "This is Officer Miller. I need backup. I repeat, I need backup. I'm at the intersection of... Oh my God!" His words were cut short as a crimson beam lanced through the windshield, striking him in the chest. He slumped over the wheel, his life extinguished in a flash of light. The car careened out of control, crashing into a storefront, the sirens falling silent. The drones continued their relentless assault, their red lenses glowing with a cold, emotionless light. A 08 flew over a small park, its red lenses scanning the green space. It saw a couple having a picnic, their laughter now replaced by screams of terror. The drone's magic cannons opened fire, crimson beams lancing through the air, cutting them down where they sat. The drone moved on, its target eliminated, its mission continuing. Cyronox watched it all, a grim smile on his face. He took another drag from his cigarette, the smoke a pale ghost against the crimson glow of the city. He was a monster, a true monster, and he was embracing the darkness with open arms. The experience notifications were a steady stream in the corner of his vision, a waterfall of death and reward. That was slowly, but surely pushing him closer to his goal. If the experience continues to flow like this, I will be done in a few hours. He watched the last ember of his cigarette fall to the street, the speck of light vanishing against the red glow. He looked at the defensive drone hovering above him, its stillness absolute in the dead city. He stood up, grabbing the backpack and moving away from the edge.